They just came on now. Let's try get closer to the stage. Sorry. Excuse me. Hi there. Thanks a million.
Do you want to go on my shoulders?
What?
Sorry. Do you want to go on my shoulders?
Yeah, that'd be unreal. Thanks. Wow.
3 celebrates connections made by music this summer. Find out more at 3.ie/music.
Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now, for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others, here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only, Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker. I am here with my co-host, Patricia Kirkman, PK. How's it going there in hot Tucson?
Oh, you know what? I just figure I've got my own sauna. All I have to do is walk out the front door, and it's just dripping wet in a matter of minutes.
I know. What a good detox, huh?
Oh,
God.
That's right.
And we have
in fact,
the
my
opposite
cheeks are
here.
even sagging. Yeah. Why can't we put the two of it together? Wouldn't that be nice?
I know. You could have some of our rain. We could have some of your dry weather. It has been raining nonstop here. And as I was just saying, the roads are getting flooded over, and I've never seen so much rain all at one time.
East Coast. Yeah, East Coast has really been getting it, I noticed.
We're getting it. We're getting it good. I know. It's time to build that ark. Oh, my. Well, we've got a great show tonight, do we not?
Oh, we certainly do. Not a doubt about that one. This is going to be very titillating for everyone to check this one out.
I know it, because we have so many people in our audience that love to know about shamanic procedures, rituals, ceremonies, and our guest tonight, Erika Beunaflor, is going to tell us all about the MesoAmerican side of this, which is incredible. I mean, there's so much to all of this. There's a lot of different aspects of these rituals, and Erika herself is a Curandera. I hope I'm saying that right. I bet she says it much prettier than me. But anyways, she has studied in Mexico, Peru, and Los Angeles, and where she is right now. But we're going to bring her on in a few minutes. But first, of course, we've got to check in with you, PK, about the numbers. What's happening?
Well, before I even touch on the numbers, I want to remind everybody that tomorrow we're having a blood moon, which will be the longest total lunar eclipse in a century. So it'll be an hour and 45 minutes long. So pay attention, folks. That's tomorrow, definitely. But also,
what are the metaphysical implications of that? Okay.
Well, let's put it this way.
What does that mean?
It just means that it's going to be beautiful to see. It has a great impact on it. The color is going to be a real deep red or a reddish brown. And instead of going completely dark, we're going to be able to see it this time. But it just, the little shorter things ongoing. But what I'm getting more than anything else is the lunar eclipse is going to be fabulous to look at. But Mercury retrograde starts tomorrow, too.
And
that's
not again.
And that's why we're having all these problems with communications and electronics. And remember, we tiptoe into it. So even though it starts tomorrow, we've been dangling in some of this stuff for ages. Well, for the last week and a half at least. But what is taking place is everybody don't make your major plans. If you're born with Mercury retrograde, then you're okay. You can do things that others can't do. But for the rest of us, the retrograde just knocks our socks off. So what's happening here, anything to do with communications is going to be a problem. Anything to do with travel will find to be a problem. contractual issues, anything to do with paperwork, make sure you double check everything, because nothing is going to seem right. You'll get it fixed, you'll think it's correct, next you know it's wrong. It's just the retrograde is going to bite us all in the backside where we sit. No question about
now,
that.
When is it over?
It's one of the longer ones. It'll be about the 18th or the 26th. I forget which.
Get out of town. Oh, my God.
No, seriously. It starts July 26th, and it actually ends August 19th.
Well, that's way too long, but we're just going to have to buckle up and just hold on.
But making any plans is going to be a problem. Travel will be a major problem. Things to do with not only computers, but automobiles, because we forget cars now are full of electronics.
That's right.
Gosh, there's just nothing nice to say about it, except if you were born in a retrograde. Those are the only ones that get skate by, but then they get it the rest of the time. So I'd rather do it this way.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. So don't buy a car during this time. Don't buy any new electronics during this time.
Nothing. No. About a week or two before the retrograde starts, we've started to see problems. Anything to do with electronics or finishing up tasks. Many of these things are going to have to be redone, reevaluated. And we need to have a backup plan, because don't expect things to go smoothly, because they won't. And people are going to get very uptight, angry, a lot of miscommunications. And, of course, some people are going to blame the retrograde. Others are going to take a look at you and blame you. You know? You can't get away from it.
Right.
It's just going to be those fun times. But take a moment to reflect. Think back about the retrograde, what can be an excellent time if you step back, analyze, and refrain from making any drastic changes during the retrograde. Don't buy anything. My God. It'll end up having to be returned or repaired. And also, if anything breaks down, electronics, during this period of time, put it on the shelf. The odds are when retrograde's over, it'll work again.
Okay. There you have it. Wow.
That's the way it is.
Good advice. We're gonna just follow what you say. Follow your lead here. So I'm just going to tell everybody.
Other little tidbit. I was just going to say, what other little tidbit is, today is a 7-day number-wise, and 7 deals with teaching and learning. And what better show to have than this lovely young lady that's going to be working with us tonight, because Erika will be able to teach a lot of us a lot of things.
Oh, great. Well, our minds are wide open, as always, to suck in this great knowledge, and I know it's great knowledge because the book is excellent. So we're going to be talking to Erika in just a couple minutes. And now I just want to refer everybody, too, to the Facebook page for Supernatural Girls, because there are 2 film trailers on there. One is for a new television series. Did you get a chance to see those, PK? They look great.
They do look very interesting. We're getting so many new things put together. It's like, wow, every day is a little something new. Going to be great.
Little more. And this Project Blue Book television series, the trailer, like I said, it's on our Facebook page. Go take a look, everybody. It looks excellent. And it's going to air on the History Channel, I guess, sometime this December. I hate to wait that long for it because it looks that good. So I'm all excited about that. I know everybody is going to be excited once they see that trailer. And again, the name is Project Blue Book. It's on the History Channel, but it's on our Facebook page right now. If you want to take a look at it, that's where you can find it easily. And there's another movie coming out with Gillian Anderson from the X-Files, and it's named UFO. I'm so surprised to see her in something other than the X-Files that has the same theme to it.
Well, it's time.
There she is.
That's right.
There she is.
I think.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people were complaining, saying, "Oh, she doesn't want to be on the X-Files anymore," but she goes out and does another UFO movie. But that's okay. She gets to be working. You know, it's important to work. And who knows why she didn't want to be in the X-Files anymore? Yeah, who knows?
Well,
but maybe she'll change.
Don't we like change? Yeah, we like changes every once in a while.
Yeah, change it up. You got to change it up. Challenge yourself, I guess, as an actor. So, anyways, that trailer is also on our Facebook page. So please go take a look and make sure you follow us there, as well as on Twitter. And if you go to our website, you can join up with our newsletter, The Fringe Files, and it's supernaturalgirls.com.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want a private numerology reading, go see patriciakirkman.com, and you can schedule a reading with her there. She'll tell you what's coming up, what to look forward to, what to avoid, all the potholes and pitfalls along the way. Very valuable information. And if you want any dream support, you know where to find me on supernaturalgirls.com. Just send me an email, and I'll help you set up a dream group or do one-on-one, whatever you'd like to do to explore the dream reality. I was a dream therapist, as you know, for over 20 years. Got a lot of experience with it
as well.
Oh, thank you. And so I still love to do it. Love to help people with dreams. So thank you, PK. So anyways, let's get to our amazing, and I do mean amazing guest, because she's quite accomplished at a number of things. But we have here with us Erika Beunaflor, and she has a master's degree in religious studies with a focus on Mesoamerican shamanism from the University of California at Riverside. She's a practicing curandera for over 20 years and descended from a long line of grandmother curanderas. She has studied with curanderas and curanderos in Mexico, Peru, and Los Angeles, and gives presentations on Curanderismo, and I'm not saying that right, she's going to correct me, in many settings, including at UCLA. She lives in California, and we can't wait to hear all about this. So, Erika, welcome to the show.
Hi, Patricia. Hi, TK. How are you?
Fabulous. Anxiously awaiting your part of the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, and that's Curanderismo. That was perfect.
Curanderismo.
Perfect.
I knew you'd say it prettier. Curanderismo. Okay, so, you know, there's, as we were talking before the show, there is so much to this, that you practically need a PhD in it. But you're smart enough to do that because you're also a lawyer. My God, you have a JD degree, so you're just a brain.
Yes.
But let's start there, because you thought you were going to continue to be a lawyer, and then things kind of changed. So take us back in time with you and tell us how you got involved with all of this.
Let's see. You know, it was always something of a calling to me. I grew up as you mentioned. You know, I come from a long line of grandmother curanderas. My great-great-grandmother, she was a great-great-grandmother. She was a very well-known curandera. My great-grandmother, who I was exposed to, she taught me a lot about curanderismo. And I got to see a lot of my tias. They still were using herbs to heal and traditional methods. And my grandmother started doing more Western. She started leaning towards more nursing. She went to nursing school and followed more of a Western route. But, you know, there were still, the stories were still in there, and there was still the healing, the plants were still in there. The traditional methods were still in there. So it was infused. So that was still part of me. And then when I got to LA, you know, I got somewhat disassociated because I was first generation. And then I went to school at UCLA, and I got exposed to some really progressive Chicana and Chicano study professors. And they allowed me to study Curanderismo, you know, alongside all these other hardcore poli-sci theory and whatnot. And
wow.
And during that time, it was just really awesome because I had my soul awaken. It was a time when it was a lot of feelings of social justice, and they had done a hunger strike and all these different things. So, you know, fast forwarding, I went on and I said, okay, I'm gonna get involved in social justice and change the world and become an attorney. And my second year of law school, the universe had a different plan for me, though.
I guess.
The universe was like, no, I don't think so.
It shows.
And second year in law school, my girlfriend and I went to Yucatan, and synchronicities happened. I met my first two mentors. And I also met this really interesting gentleman who had property there and in the Tulum, and he let me help him out, rent out the property. So that basically funded my trips to go down to the Yucatan. About every 4 to 6 months I was going down there, and I was mentoring with my first 2 set of mentors, and I did that for about 7 years. And at that time, 7 years later, I was an attorney. I was like living 2 lives. I was an attorney, and I was still Curandera mentee. And I was also taking other classes here when I was still in the States, and there's something that happened in 2005. I was hiking, and I, went into this very deep meditation. I didn't ground myself, and I woke up being airlifted. 3 days later, I was told that I had a skull fracture. Yeah, I had a skull fracture, a brain hemorrhage, left AC dislocated, 2 vertebrae in my back fractured. I completely shattered my coccyx. Left leg I fractured in 3 places. Right leg knee down, bone shattered and came out of my heel. And 6 weeks later, when they put the bones back into my heel, they found out that they didn't do a culture, so they put it back with an infection. So I got severe osteomyelitis, and the bones ate away at the infection were eating away at my bones.
Oh my God!
And I was told all these horrible things. I was told I was never going to be able to walk again. I was going to be in pain the rest of my life. All these horrible things. And when everybody left my room, I knew it was time for me to step into my power. Because even though all that time I was mentoring, I was incredibly stubborn. I was so stubborn. I was like, no, but I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be of service this way. And I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. Even though I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't land a job at first. And this, later on I did. I started doing social justice issues. But to get a job in a nonprofit is like winning the lotto. Especially at a law school.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to be of service. And I kept moving forward, and I just said, you know what? It is time for me to embrace who I am, or else I'm going to be handicapped the rest of my life. And I choose to embrace who I am. And the universe also forced me to slow down, because I was in a wheelchair for almost a year. And during that time, I put into practice everything that I had learned as a Curandera mentee. And I also had some really amazing experiences, when that really forced me to stop, to wake up that these weren't coincidences of what I was experiencing, that these weren't just something that I could disregard. When the doctor had told me, there were various doctors there was one doctor that I had that I really liked, because this doctor never gave me any limitations. I had all the other doctors, after they were done with their surgeries, when they started giving me limitations, you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be able to do that, because I knew I was going to be fine. I knew that. And I would turn to them and say, okay, you're done with your surgery? Okay, you're fired.
Yep, there you go.
Kind of crazy that way.
Good, get rid of the bad.
But
now,
I
at one point, too,
doctor.
Erika, at one point, though, I just want to go back to, you almost had to have your foot amputated, right? That's how serious all of this was. Jeez.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So when the doctor who I loved, when he told me that, who I trusted, I trusted this gentleman. He never gave me limitations. He came to me and he said, it looks pretty bad. This is after the 3 debridement, when they're trying to get the infection out. Tonight, we're probably going to have to amputate your foot. And when he left my room, I heard and I felt, and I know this without a shadow of a doubt. I was like, it's just a strong, intuitive knowingness. Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael told me to use the Blu-ray. I didn't know what the heck that meant. I had never heard of that in my life. And I had studied with quite a few people at that time, and I had taken New Age classes, and now it's more popular. Now I've heard of it, of course, but I didn't know what the heck that meant. But at that time, you better believe I wasn't going to be like, excuse me, Archangel Michael, now do I put the blue ray, do I focus it on my foot and I breathe into it? And do I focus on it? Do I put it on you? Now do I think about... I surrendered. I completely surrendered, and I didn't know what the heck that meant. I surrendered, and I said, I am blue. I am blue, blue, blue. I saw myself outside of my body, and I started seeing these electrical surges going through my body, and I saw myself shape-shifting into beings that I have seen artists paint with this blue aura around them. You know, as Krishna, as Moria, Mikael, all these different beings. And the next morning, and you know, after the surgery, I got to keep my foot. This was 8 hours later. The doctors didn't do anything different. They didn't give me any kind of different IV antibiotics.
No, because we just lost our guest. So PK, I'm sure she'll call right back in.
I'm sure.
But you know, it's interesting because with bone infection, my understanding of that is you're never rid of it. Once you have it, you have it, right? And you have it everywhere because it goes through all your bones.
Exactly.
So
it goes right through the system.
Yep. So just the fact that Erika was able to heal herself so profoundly. I mean, this was a horrible accident. My God, all those broken bones, the shattered pelvis, and then the bone infection on top of it. This is a huge amount of healing that needed to take place. And it's amazing that she was able to turn this around the way she did, and that she saved her foot. My God, what a horrible thing that would have been. So,
thinking of her background as it was, where she was raised with that, but to have spent most of her time becoming the attorney, the fact that she was still able to generate and turn this into a positive, my goodness gracious, how fortunate for her.
I know. And here she is back with us right now. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, the little gremlins took you off the air, Erika.
When you turn blue, don't leave, okay?
Yeah, so I got to keep my foot. And, you know, that was a big wake-up call for me. But even with all those things, it was continuous. During that time when I was in a wheelchair, I felt like I was getting, like they were just continuously like, will you just listen to us?
Oh, gosh.
The naughty child ignoring the masters, huh?
Yeah. It was
knock.
just like,
Pay attention. Yeah.
So,
God, what
yeah.
else? But I just want to back up again, because in your book you talk about the fact that you were standing, I don't know if it was in your kitchen or living room or somewhere, with plates in your hand when you had the vision ahead of time that you were going to have this kind of an accident. And as you described, you dropped the plates and almost passed out from it. So you had knowledge of that horrible accident before you even got up on that in the canyon.
Yes. You know, it was really interesting. Well, before this, you know, I had some friends, some girlfriends, and we used to go to different places around the world, and we would do what we would call grid activations for the earth. And I saw the night before that I was going to be doing one over Vegas, because there was just a lot of clearing that needed to be done. And
right,
you know, that morning I had the vision that I was going to have that accident, and I avoided going to the hiking. I avoided going to the until the very last day. It was just
Erika, you're breaking up a little bit. Is there a better spot that you can be in that has better reception, because you're starting to break up a little again?
Yeah, let's see. Is that better?
Yes, thank you. We don't want to miss anything, because we're hanging on your every word here. So.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where I knew I had seen it, but it was something that I knew I had to do. I had to go to Red Rock Canyon and do the work there and do a grid activation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was an eerie feeling all weekend, but at the same time, I wasn't going there with the knowledge, but yeah. It was
we're
there.
kind of losing you again.
Yeah.
We're losing you again. I don't know if there's an even better spot you can talk to us from.
Let's see, retrograde,
breaking up. So see if we can, continue. Go ahead.
No,
let's see.
I don't want to miss a word of what you've got to say because it is so intriguing and so interesting.
Important information too. I mean, I don't know, Erika. If I'd had a vision like that, I probably wouldn't have gone hiking the rest of my life.
I think two of us. I would have stayed in bed just in case.
Yeah. So you're pretty brave.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was something that I felt really called to do.
Well, obviously, the end result, although you've been through so much, what you've garnered from it and are now able to work with others about, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, and it was something that I look back at it and I think I was so stubborn that I did something that difficult to force me to wake up. It was because just various things. It was I remember there was a instance where I was just getting called to do. I was making different recipes for different things in Limpias and making a recipe for an oil that I was making for just to incite courage and courage. And I was guided to put honey in this oil, and I just responded, I'm not putting honey in an oil. And then I went 3 weeks later to the Yucatan with my mentor, and one of my mentors sent me to one of her mentors, who was he was just not going to put up with any of my BS. And he had me do a limpia, and then he's like, okay, now put honey all over your body. And I did, and I just was like, honey, wait, what's this with honey? And then I started finding about all these traditions of, the ancient Mesoamerican peoples and how they used honey in their traditions to bring in abundance, to bring in good fortune, and I just and then it just started making sense to me because it was for courage and it was to bring in that abundance and vision and then I just like, okay, I'm listening, and it was wonderful too because during that time too, then I started becoming really interested in the ancient Mesoamerican traditions as well, and I just became hungry to learn more. And it was really interesting, during that time when I was incorporating everything, I remember tearing up, not because I was thinking that I knew I was going to be fine. But I was tearing up because I was like, I don't want to go back to work as an attorney.
Oh God, yeah, that's right, because you were still involved with that whole business.
Yeah, so I was still like, okay, let me figure things out, and I knew I still had a lot to learn, and I thought, I'm going to go back to school. I wasn't sure what to do at that moment. I was still seeing clients, and at the time, I was actually taking people down to the Yucatan. After I got better, like literally after I got better and I met my second meta mentors, I planned a trip down for people, and I planned a trip for people to teach them about spiritual healing and about Mayan traditions and awakening. This was back in 2007. I started my first trip. And 2007 and 2008, all throughout 2008, 9, and 10, I was doing that, and I became very, I decided to go back to school because I really wanted to understand the ancient traditions as well, and go back and understand the roots, because although my mentors knew a lot about the traditions, I didn't know a lot of the questions that would help me to understand a lot of the things that helped nuance my practice. There were just certain things that I didn't know.
Yeah, because the ancient traditions had such power. I mean, they were the original ones. And I know you talked in your book also about reading Castaneda, correct? That you were fascinated by that as well?
When I was a young girl, yes. It was very much. When I was a young girl, I knew very young, at a very young age, that I was a shaman. I was a curandera. There was something different about me. I already knew. I already was doing limpias. I remember doing them for a friend when I was 5 years old.
Oh, you're kidding. So you just had this natural knowledge that came through you. Oh, my God. Well, listen, we're going to take a very short commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk about all of these rituals and things that you knew naturally and then the ones you learned, because they are extensive, and we want to hear all the details and what we also can do in our own homes to work with our own issues and create personal transformation and healing. So stay tuned, everybody. You're listening to Supernatural Girls Radio, and we will be right back.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With cosmic fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.KOSMICfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Astridian is a family of cosmetic products with 98% pure ionized minerals. We combine our science with a blend of essential oils to nourish and take care of your skin's health. How does it work? All Astridian products contain the proprietary redox technology, having the capability of simulating an ionic zinc-copper superoxide dismutase effect. This free radical scavenger currently in your body has been diminished by toxins and the daily stresses of life. It is a perfectly balanced mineral complex that all $200 an hour dermatologists, their professors, and ancient history have proven. Redox technology is a process of reducing the skin's oxidation by transferring electrons from a radical state to a stress-free normal condition. Oxidative stress is a form of cellular aging, and as science has proven, a precursor to disease. The free radical theory of aging states that organisms age because cells accumulate free radical damage over time. Damaged cells are not beautiful, but healthy cells are. The Astridium family is presented in 4 different uses that cover unique benefits to your body. They are the Essential Anti-Aging Series, the Multivitamin Series, Sports Series, and Professional Series. Regain your youth with the power of Astridium. Visit www.astridium.com and inquire. Use the code SUPERNATURAL and receive a 10% discount on your first purchase. Astridium, the beauty of being healthy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker. I am here with my co-host, who is roasting away in Tucson, PK, and our fabulous guest tonight, Erika Beunaflor, who has a new book out. And Erika, I'm going to let you say the title because you say it better than me.
There makes 2 of us that can't say it properly. You did that to trick us, right?
This is where I wish I studied Spanish in school, right? So tell us the name of your book.
It's Cleansing Rites of Curanderismo. And then the sub is Limpias Espiritual. Yeah, Cleansing Rites of Curanderismo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's available on Amazon and I'm sure in your local bookstores also. And we're talking about these rituals and ceremonies that came to you when you were a small child. You were able to do these for friends, you said. Tell us more about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was just something intuitive that I knew to do. I would know, for example, I would get bougainvilleas, flowers. I would just steep bougainvilleas to help for sore throats and for headaches. I just knew. It was just a knowingness where, I just would get things. I would bring things together. I knew how to tie things. I knew how to tie to stop pain in certain parts of the body. I just knew it was something that was passed down. It was a knowingness.
Wow, that's quite a gift.
I was my grandmother in certain ways. I'd always do Sobaderismo treatments for my mom. That Sobaderismo it's a healing, it's a cleansing, it's a healing, it's a acupressure, massage, and cleansing, all in one. Energy healing too.
Oh my goodness. Now it looks like from reading the book, there's really no limit to what these rituals can accomplish. Everything from healing you from your catastrophic injury to treating people that have depression or even anxiety. So it runs the gamut on what it can work with.
Correct. When there's in various different situations, everything from.
Well, tell us some stories. So as you became a healer, Curandera, and you studied with these mentors and people all over the world, basically. Give us some stories of some of the work that you've done, some of the people that you've been able to help heal from certain things.
Definitely. I think there's various things. I've had one client for. I'll give the range of different things, right? One client who claimed, and this is the one I mentioned in my book, because this is with I teach a lot how to do with relaciones, because one of the things that I found that I had a difference. I had different sets of mentors, and the mentors that I absolutely love were the mentors that taught me how to do things. They were my mentors, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sometimes you go and they'll say, oh, well, you have this, but they don't teach you how to do it. They say, okay, I'll do it for you, and it's going to cost you this much, which is okay. It's their living, it's what they do, it's their practice. But I always feel that it's so much more empowering for the person if you teach them and you say, no, but you have to do it. So that's what I usually do. Is people come in for a session and I'll clear them of certain energy so they can have the stamina and be clear to do the work that they need to do. But ultimately, I teach them how to do their own method. And I remember there was one client who, when she came to me, she listed a laundry list of all these different things that were going on with her. A lot of issues, emotional outbursts, and just various things. And at the very end, she says, oh, and by the way, my brother is engaged to somebody who is basically after his money. And she's, she's, and can you help him with that? And my response was like, well, honey, let's work on you first.
Right.
So we worked on her for some time, and she got to a point where she was doing better. She was being a lot more responsive rather than reacting to things. So I taught her how to do a velación, which a velación is candle work. And I had her do, it's 8 white candles, and the central candle is a candle with Archangel Michael. And I said to her, okay, for the petition, what you have to do, though, because I always say things, it's always ethical. I always ask for the ideal situation and everything, because I feel that, one of it's ethical, and there's also, if someone has strong will, you can't force anyone to do anything.
Right.
We all have the right to our own situation. We all have the right to live our life, to make our choices. So I said to her, okay, what you can do is you can ask for, that any energy that is less in love and less in light between, the fiancé and your brother be transmuted with and by the sacred fires of God's love, God's light, and that your brother is able to see truth. And 2 weeks later, after the velación, the candles went out, her brother asked for a prenup. The fiancé left.
Wow. How about
that a telltale story?
That's powerful. God.
And
now,
and then there have been other. Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that the candle work you describe in the book has a lot to it. And you talk about when you light the candle, if it produces black smoke, it means one thing. If it's white smoke, it's another thing. I mean, there's so many different aspects to the candle work, and I know our audience is very interested in that. It's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So the candle work, there's, the candle work, it's divinatory. It's very much divinatory in nature. I mean, you can clear things, and it can tell you. All the Limpia tools, they're sacred tools, so they always give you insight of what's going on. After you do a cleanse, you read the tool, and it'll tell you a lot more about what's going on. So, for example, for the candle, if you light it, and there is like a black smoke comes up, there's going to be some obstacles coming your way. Just are. It's not going to be clear. It's and then also while it's burning, while the candles are burning, if the candles go out, if one of the candles go out, that means that you need to get your mojo up. There's something that the person who's lighting the candle, who did the work, that did that. There's some obstacles. Everything needs to be redone. Light that candle and redo it. But there are some things that need to be clear. It's like letting you know. It's like there are some obstacles there. Doesn't mean that it's not clearing. It's just letting you know, hey, be aware. If the candles while they're burning, they're hopping, they're jumping, they're like, yeah, that means they're basically, they are doing their work for you. They're like things, they're just moving things. Like things are just going to be really like quick for you, like instantaneous and quick. If it's really, really slow, like it's just like barely, like it looks like it's going to go out, it's struggling. But it doesn't mean it's not going to be clear. It's just struggling. It's just struggling. There's and if at the end when the candles are done, if there's, for example, black smoke, if it's like black, that means that someone or something has not been wishing you well, and for whatever reason, the person has internalized it. And sometimes the glass breaks and that has broken it. It's not one of those things like, people get alarmed by that, because I had one lady, for example, that came to me who she had been in a very dysfunctional, to say it nicely, marriage for 8 years. Her husband said all kinds of horrible things to her on a daily basis, like horrible, horrible things. About just
awful.
everything. Yeah, I mean, just everything under the sun. And she finally got to the point where she's like, she finally got the courage to get a divorce. Because she's like, this is not living. So he was at the very beginning, he was like, I'm not signing any papers. I'm not giving you any money. I'm not signing any papers. You're on your own. And,
God.
she came to me just distraught. And this isn't the first. I've dealt with a lot of situations like this. This is just one of the most recent ones. And the thing, she had internalized a lot of things, a lot of negative beliefs about herself as well. So when she did her first velación, and she showed me a picture, all the glasses were like black. I mean, black, black, black. It's like, holy mackerel. I was like, oh, honey, you need to do a lot more. We're just going to just do a lot of clearing for you. But, after, she was diligent in that. She began, working on that, doing a lot of limpias. And I want to say from when she first came to see me, I want to say 2 months later, that he actually signed amicably an agreement. She didn't have to go to court.
Right.
I mean, it was just like amicably. Everything that she wanted, the alimony, the child support, everything that she wanted, she got.
That is tremendous. And you're touching on an issue that it's just rampant in our culture today, where women especially, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men because it does, but women especially can get into these positions. And oftentimes, even in today's culture, contemporary culture, women sometimes give up their career and then they are without money if they need to leave the relationship. And I've always felt this, and I know you also have, PK, that there's a missing piece when it comes to breaking out of a relationship that's abusive. And I think this is it. Erika, I think this is it. This is the missing piece that women and also men in this situation need. Because it's without the spiritual component and without this ability to clear on so many levels, people are going to stay stuck. I mean, how many women do each of us know that keeps staying stuck? They can't seem to break out of it. And I think it's because they don't have this element involved in their healing. So your work is so important in so many ways, but certainly for this in particular.
When a person is when a person is working with you, how long a period of time does it, I'm going to say, usually take? Is it something that can be done very quickly? Is it depending on the circumstances, how long the sessions go?
I just ask, how long does a person have? We are multidimensional, honestly, because everyone has different goals. Like, for example, that client, when she got her divorce signed, after that, I didn't see her again, which is cool. I have one client, for example, who has worked with me. I have a couple clients that have worked with me for actually a few years. This one client has worked with me. He's now a few months. I don't know where he's at right now, but I know I just saw him actually last month. But I know that in July when I saw him, he had raised $80 million for his company.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. Where he initially came to me, he was starting a business and he was going to close shop.
Oh.
So,
God, what a change.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well,
it just depends.
Do they come to you on
we
a
all want to
weekly
know
basis
what ritual
or monthly or whatever? Yeah, what is the duration that you prescribe for them when they're working with you?
I don't really prescribe a duration because it really depends on the person. It really depends on the person because, for example, like the lady who was working with me, because one of the things that I work with too is soul retrieval, and this is actually going to be on my second book. And I integrate this too because all the Limpias always integrate soul retrieval too. Is the moment somebody starts getting their power back, I let them know. And this is in the relationship situation, a power dynamic, an employee, any kind of power dynamic. I say that person is going to contact you. What are you going to do? And for example, with the last example that I shared with my client that was in a divorce, he indeed called her, and she started going out with him again for a little bit. And that happened to another client too. It just happened. And that's up to them, because I said, this is going to take longer.
I guess so.
Yep.
This is going to take longer. Do you want to take longer with this? And that's up to them. Because it's really, honestly, it is up to the person. How, because as I explain in my book, in the platicas, I always give people homework. I always give people homework. I always tell them, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. Because I always tell people ways to get back their power. Because for whatever reason, something, or maybe to be more in their power, to be more, to go further, to progress in that. Because when they start doing that, then it's also too about how far they want to go too. How far do they want to go? Because this one gentleman who has been working with me, and another client, a couple of them that have been working with me, they know, and they're remembering that they are creating the reality that they choose.
Well,
and I catch them on that.
Right. We all are doing that, whether it's unconscious or conscious. And so in the work that you do as a shaman and a curandera, I mean, that's very important information. I mean, I know we all have heard from shamans who have said you have to reclaim every part of yourself, that you have to embrace every part of yourself. And you even hear vestiges of that in the emotional freedom technique, or tapping, however you want to refer to it. So there's all of this self-acceptance that people are missing. Now, I know you said you worked with homeless people. Let me bring up another issue, because it's always being talked about in the media like it's the end of the world. But the opioid crisis, where they're saying people are getting addicted to all of these pills, and then they go to heroin because it's cheaper and easier than getting the pills. And I mean, I see that as a spiritual deficit. Now, do you work with people that have those issues?
Yes. I do to a certain extent. They, especially depression. And they usually take a little longer.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and we lost our Erika again. The gremlins took Erika, but she's coming back soon. But, this is, again, another
important issue. I said retrograde was starting tomorrow.
It's starting today for us. But anyways, the opioid thing, everybody's talking about it, and the government is making a big deal about it. But, this, again, is the issue that it's like the elephant in the room. People neglect talking about the spiritual side of this. So, Erika, you're back. Thank you for calling back in again. When you work with somebody who has addiction problems, and obviously there's depression involved with a lot of this, then are there any particular rituals that you feel are helpful?
There are, a lot of times it's a lot of things with cleansing, with soul retrieval cleansing, with soul retrieval work. It's finding out when does that happen, because there's something there. There's a lot of it has to do with accepting us as a child, accepting us, and they're usually intertwined with feeling, why don't I know this? Why don't I know me? Why don't I have it all figured out? And I tell, that's what I'm reminding them. It's like, that's insanity. We're actually, and this is something that the Mexica, also known as the Aztec and the Mesoamerican people in general, they knew, is they call what they have, it's a nepatla. It's an understanding of nepatla, that we're always in change. We're always understanding ourselves. We're always in flux. That there's no, we think that we're supposed to have it, Western society thinks that we're supposed to have everything figured out, that we're supposed to know everything, we're supposed to know on our roles. And one of the things is having them indicate in rituals and declaring rituals is having them understand and really embody them, that we are always in change and that it's okay to not know, that it's okay to figure out what our happiness is and not to feel bad about that, because that's a lot of things. It's when I have, and that's why a lot of people, when they start coming to me, I have people that come to me initially for just breath work, just like breath work. They're not necessarily coming to me as, as a curandera. They know what I do, and they like, when I'm doing the guided journeys, when I'm doing trance journeys, and I'm encouraging them. It's like, it's okay if you don't know what your happiness is. And they're like, oh, that's the first time they've ever heard that. Because they're like, they
Wow.
feel like, why am I not happy? I don't feel happy. And I say, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. We're all figuring it out. It's what's madness is that we think we're supposed to have it figured out. That's madness. It's okay that in that.
Yeah, that type of mentality. I mean, it is truly mental. I mean, it is an overuse of the brain and not coming from the heart. So it's you're so. I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, it's so important to take a step back and go, I don't need to figure it out. I just need to feel what's happening right here and now, and it can be enough. So there's a lot of power in the shamanistic ways of the ancient past that you now have mastered, as well as studied. But there's so much incredible power in being able to accept yourself where you are, no matter what.
Yes.
So that is key. And there's a whole bunch of things we want to talk to you about these different rituals that you have. But here's my question, because you talked about the man who raised the $80 million. And, of course, our entire audience wants to know how to raise $80 million. But
I'll settle for one.
I did. Yeah. But I noticed in the book you talk about the baths and taking a bath in garlic for 3 days. I thought, wow, why garlic?
Yeah.
What's the power of the garlic? It changes your money mentality.
Garlic has a very, very strong spirit. Garlic, it has one of those like a boxer kind of spirit. Just knock you out, because a lot of times when we are down and out, in especially financially, we have embodied, we have allowed ourselves to think all these, we have allowed ourselves to be in situations where we feel stuck, we feel trapped, we feel this, and garlic has a strong spirit that just wipes those things out and clears those things out of the way, because that's a lot of the things that the ancient Mesoamerican people, that's what we did, is we worked with the spirit of the plants, and that's why we knew certain things would be good for certain things. So garlic is wonderful to clear any kind of financial issues, and it's done 3 days. It's done in a way where it's done 3 days in a row systematically, because it's to clear that those repeating things. So you do it at the same time of the day, at the same time of the day, and it's believed that with that cycle, you're clearing more fully just that energy, and also the residuals of that energy that the person, or that the person has allowed in their lives for that those conditions that they've allowed and attracted for financial issues.
Yeah. Now, with the garlic, I forget how many cloves. Is it 7 cloves that you recommend?
Yes,
or
correct.
How many cloves?
Correct.
So 7 cloves
heads,
that people
heads.
put in their bath water. And is there anything else that people do with that ritual? Do they have to light candles or have a certain state of mind when they do these baths?
Well, for the baños, one thing that's absolutely critical is you have to clear your space. So in the bathroom, because you can also do it with buckets. With a 5-gallon bucket.
Okay.
Wherever you're doing the limpia, you have to clear the space, because it's also, I discuss in my book, is the space is also spaces are also believed to have their own spirit essence as well. It wasn't, spaces were not just inanimate objects. They would believe that, and that's a lot of the time too. It's and I'll go back to that. In terms of insomnia, a lot of people have insomnia because they haven't cleared their space in a very long time. But when you take a bath, it's really important to cleanse your space first. Whether it's with, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just was going to ask you exactly what you were going to talk about is what do you use to cleanse the space?
So there's many ways to cleanse the space, and I talk about many of them in my book. So a few of them are very simple. You can use a bundle of dry herbs. All herbs have cleansing properties, all herbs, but they have to be dry herbs.
Okay.
All herbs have, they all have wonderful, wonderful cleansing. Rosemary, and they all have additional gifts, but they all have cleansing properties. Another wonderful way is to do what's called a sahumerio, and that's essentially a smoking out, and that's getting a charcoal tablet and putting resins on it. I like to use copal because copal is an offering to the divine and also clears out spaces. Another really effective way that just instantly clears things out is a couple handfuls of Epsom salt, some rubbing alcohol, and you put a little dry herbs in there, and it just clears out the room. And it's also believed that not only are you clearing out the room, but you're feeding the essence energy of, your bathroom. So that bathroom will help facilitate the cleanse for you as well.
Now, I'm curious, when you use the garlic, do you peel the garlic or do you leave it in its skin? Okay, because that would be a question that someone would be asking, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Good question. Yeah, because all of these rituals, you've got to follow them pretty, in all their detail to have them work properly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've had someone do it in a hurry, and it actually worked for them when they just did the 7 heads. But I feel it's more potent if you kill them.
Now, Erika, what are heart straightening talks? What is that?
So that's platicas, heart straightening talks. That's basically a belief and a practice as well that when it's a talk. When somebody comes in, it's a counseling. But it's believed that when someone is talking and sharing their story, their woes or what's going on, what they want to change, that they're ejecting that energy is being removed from their body as they're speaking. And we all know it. It's when somebody comes and talks to us and they start telling us these really heavy stories, and I don't know if you've ever experienced it, and afterwards you feel drained. You're like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of avoid that person a little bit. You're like, I'm not going to answer the phone. Because energy is being ejected. Energy is being ejected from those stories. But the platicas, what they do is, it's the tradition is you start a new fire. And there's many ways, and it's a traditional thing where you start a new fire. A new fire is one of the ways that I do it. Is I do a sahumerio. I light a charcoal tablet. I offer copal, and that's basically, an offering to everyone's divine, my divine, the spirit divine of my client, and also the room, of course, and also indicating that it's a clearing and that it's also clearing the space and coming in everything and holding that space. See my dog. Let's see. And holding that space, so it's opening up a new pathway for the client as well. So it's called a new fire, opening up a new pathway. So once they're done with their story, a new pathway is going to be opened up for them. And then, after the platica, then I have an insight of, okay, now I know what else needs to be done. So I can do another limpia for them, because that's also, the heart straightening talk is also part of the limpia itself, right? They're removing that energy from their body as they're speaking. Then after that, I do another limpia for them. I may do a sweet I do a journey for them. So that's pretty much the platica is ejecting the heavy energy from stories.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's so needed. It's part of a big healing emotionally for people.
Yeah, and that was also a tradition, too, that the ancient Mexica, also known as the Aztec, and the Yucatec Maya also practice as well. It's really amazing. It just blew my mind when I started reading about their ceremonies. They actually had state ceremonies where they had certain days in a month where everybody would go out. And one of them was called the Feast of Xcaretl, where everybody in the Aztec Empire would go outside and they would start basically doing a platica, proclaiming what they needed to release. Transgressions, things that had happened, woes, stories, whatever that is. And there were shamans that would come around and do, that would basically hold that space too, and they would also be smoking out and providing clearing for that as well. And it was believed that when diseases or there were plagues or something would happen, that's what they would have everybody do. It'd say, everybody, you need to get out and do a platica. They would believe that that was also part of the
en masse platica. Incredible.
Yeah, it was part of the cleanse to get rid of things, to get rid of energy. It was very, right before someone died, that was very essential. Right before they did, the person would proclaim everything that they had done that, maybe there were, and even if they had done something that was illegal, if it was said in the platica, it was said in that talk, they couldn't be arrested for it. They were basically, they got immunity.
That was a free pass.
Yeah,
that it was.
They got a free pass.
Gosh.
Yeah, and it was a clearing. So when they would move on into their next life, they wouldn't carry that burden, that energy of any transgressions they had done into their next life. Because they were very well aware that, even when, for example, babies were born, they did a water limpia for them, and they would say to them, to the babies, clearing the energy of their parents. They were very well aware that energies could carry on ancestrally. So, the platica, when they were saying things and they were letting go of these energies before they passed away, they would believe that they weren't going to be carrying these energies into their next life. So very, very powerful, very powerful. It just kind of helps us to rethink, how we look at when we speak about things. And it was interesting. There was a client that I had that came to see me a couple of weeks ago, and she was sharing a story that she was feeling that, she had to stay away from some of her friends. She had to make new friends, or just have new friends altogether, because she feels that so many of her friends come and just lay everything out for everything out. They tell everything that's going on with them, all their troubles, even when her son had a tragic death. They just ask her, how are you? Okay, well, now let me tell you about what's going on with me. And I turned to her, I said, honey, well, if that's happening to you, have you thought about asking them, well, okay, when we do that, how would you feel? I'm going to take care of you, listening to you and help you clear that energy. How would you feel if after that you helped and treated me for a massage to take care of me?
Yeah.
And then you're
why not?
And say, that's a fantastic idea. And I said, well, think about it. When people are telling you these very heavy stories, you're providing a service for them. You're holding the space. They're clearing energy for them. So that's the thing. It's an energy exchange. And her eyes just lit up and it's like, that's a fantastic idea. Now I don't have to give up my friend.
It's a wonderful idea. Yeah. Well, you bring up babies, and you bring up, clearing the parental and influences from the baby, which I think is tremendous. And then also prior to death, clearing the energy is extremely important. And I want to go back to the babies for a second, because we all do carry these genetic imprints, whether we wanted to have them or not. And so having a way to get rid of it is so important, especially because so many of these imprints happened to us before we had words. So it's hard to clear if you had this happen to you, this imprinting, before you had words. But here's a way to do it with one of these rituals, right?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. So one of the things that was absolutely, fundamental with the ancient Mesoamerican, what they did is they had the shaman midwife. When the baby was born, she did clearing with water, and this is something too that I talk about in the book that you can also ask for too, and in any banyo that you do too, to set that intention for clearing, any karma, for clearing any kind of blueprints, energy signatures of any curses, of any non-serving contracts, covenants, agreements. But that's something that the parteras would ask for, clearing of any transgressions of their parents. They knew. They knew about these things, and it's very different now, in terms of how babies are born. It's very beautiful still, of course, but, back then it was like, you had a whole team of shamans, depending, of course, on the person's status and what they could afford, but you had at least one or two or three people helping you, making sure that the energy from that baby was going to come in clear, that the pathways were going to be open, that, making sure that things were going to work out. And if they were born on a day that was unfavorable, they would then say, okay, well, let's hold off to do the second second water ceremony for them to see if we can get a more favorable day. And that's something that we can do too in our limpias, for example, with flowers. With flowers. Flowers are wonderful for cleansing of anything that has been misfortunes. If we've seen especially patterns of misfortune, karmic misfortunes, imprints, chamomile is really extraordinary for that. Roses are absolutely wonderful. Sunflower petals are really good. That combination is just a really powerful combination to take a bath with. What I like to do is, sometimes depending on what kind of, strainer you have, I recommend for people to also, if they don't have a really strong one, then to make sure their tubs don't get clogged, I tell them they can make the tea in a tea maker beforehand, and then just keep pouring in, if they have a 12-cup tea maker, or maybe a relatively clean, a clean coffee maker. Relatively clean. It's not very clean. Coffee maker.
Right.
To use the tea that's gotten from there, about 5 or 6, 12, about 5 or 6 full 12 cups of them, and put them into the tub, and then take a bath with them. And it's believed that, and you also put a cup of Epsom salt too, just for a deep physical purification as well. And then when you're in there, you can say a prayer, just repeatedly, and you could say a prayer, to be released from any karmic, from any kind of non-serving contracts, agreements, just anything that you feel that's heavy, and especially if you feel it's chronic. So the limpias, and it's just so fantastic, because afterwards, when you take the limpia, after you cleanse your body, you've taken a spiritual bath, you feel like $1 million.
There's $1 million, PK.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I finally got it. Now I know how to get it.
Yeah. Now you can get it with a bath. Hey, that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, this is remarkable. And you said something so profound earlier in the show, Erika, about we are always in a state of flux. So all of these things that we think we're stuck with or that we have following us around in life, it doesn't have to be that way. And these ceremonies and rituals give you the tools to know that you're in flux and to let it go.
Exactly.
There's nothing better. Now, how can people reach you? Do you work with people over Skype or over the phone?
Yes, I do Skype. I do phone. People can reach me through my website, realizeyourbliss.com. They can go to the contact. They can email me at erica@realizeyourbliss.com. And I teach. I have online classes too that I have on Limpias that are going to be. They should be up in August. They should be by the 1st of August. That I teach people how to do the water, fire. I show people how to do it as well. The water
great.
Limpias, the fire Limpias, how to do space activations, the different offerings for your space, because you can also activate your spaces with certain energy signatures and various things. So I can do that as well.
That's great, so that people can come to you for private sessions. They don't have to live in LA to find you. They can find you on the internet at your website, realizeyourbliss.com, and then they can communicate with you via email if they want to set up an appointment or join one of your classes. And again, your book is excellent, Cleansing Rites of Curanderismo. I think I said it kind of close, but I'm going to have you repeat it again.
I was going to say, let's let Erika do it.
Yeah, really, we got to let Erika do it. But it's a wonderful book because you have packed so much information into this book. I mean, when I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, thank God I have this in a book form so I can refer to it, because there's so much to all of this. And yet, I'm sure to you it seems simple because it's innate. I mean, you were born into this. But how nice that you're able to help people over the internet and with Skype and everything else, that you can just help lead them through these ceremonies and healings. Now, from your catastrophic injury, because that was pretty horrible, do you have any residual problems from it, or were you able to heal yourself completely?
Completely.
Wow.
Completely.
That's
yeah.
impressive.
You know, actually,
really impressive.
Very recently, one of the things that I didn't do for a very long time, I just didn't do it, was running. And I'm actually running now. I actually have been running because I actually found out that I really like to run. I run now every day for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But it took me some time to build up to that, because you know, initially I couldn't, after running, walking, it was really hard for me. It hurt a lot. But now I do everything. Yeah, I do everything. There are no residuals. Thank you, and I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful that there are no residuals. I do this with absolute gratitude and absolute humility. I'm so grateful that there are no residuals.
That's
this
truly
is fabulous
amazing
for us.
Erika. Yeah, that's
proves
so
how wonderful what you
inspirational.
do is and can be.
Yes, exactly. Now, let me ask you another question, and this is about when people are trying to clear themselves, or they're doing these rituals and trying to let go of things that are in their way. Do you ever encounter people that have entities attached to them that need to be cut loose?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes. It's always one of those situations that it's tricky. It's tricky because it's one of those things that the person really has to be aware of them and be okay with it, because a codependency relationship actually starts forming, especially if it had been there for a long time. And sometimes it's completely, I don't know if it's unconscious. I think there's some level of consciousness about it. But there's some, it's having the person become aware of it and being able to see it. And that is what I have found, because I have found that, it's I could, just extract it, boom, boom, leave. But what ends up happening, it's like you just like left a hole. Like it just like you just yank something out and there's a hole there. And
nature doesn't like a
traumatic.
vacuum, so it's going to be filled. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it could be a little traumatic for the person. So what I've learned is to gracefully have someone become aware of, what's going on, and I start helping people like realize, some people tell me, I said, do you know why that's going on? Do you know? Because I don't think this thing wants anything good for you. That's why you've been stuck in this situation and this is happening. And they start saying, I said, yes, what do I do? And I let them know. It's like, okay, one of the things you have to do is you have to continue to raise your vibration. You have to make it impossible for that thing to not want to be there. So once they start doing that, once I start seeing, because it takes an amount of discipline, it really does. Because I've done it, and I've done it when it's really gracefully and successfully. Successfully being that the person is like happy, like there's no side effects of depression, there's no trauma. Because I've seen it when I've seen it from, I've seen it where the person just has it and they're just like, whoa, what just happened? What just happened? Because I
really now. Do you see these entities? How do you know they're there?
Oh, a little bit of everything.
Okay.
a little bit of everything. Sometimes I see it. Sometimes I feel it. Like, when it starts like reaching out, kind of like, I can feel it like kind of attacking, I should say, like trying to like get me to, it just depends. Sometimes they're not nice, really not nice, and sometimes they're just absorbing the person's energy. They're not, and I can see it just like a parasite. And then that when it's something like they're not that vicious, then it could be pretty graceful. It could be something that I could do with the egg limpia. But ultimately, I always have to ask the person, where are you at? Because the person has to really want the shift and be ready for it, because it's still going to leave a gap. It's still going to leave a little bit of a gap, and they have to be like, okay, yes, I want to change. This is what I'm willing to do. This is what, and I have them do mantras, very simple mantras, 13 words about what you love about yourself. And you have to say it repeatedly. I don't care if you feel like because people will tell me that they do that and they feel like they need to puke. They need to purge after doing that. After a few hours, they feel like they need.
Gosh, so it creates space, but people may be uncomfortable with that space because they're not used to it. Did we lose Erika again?
I think we lost her again, sweetheart.
Oh, not again.
How sad.
Well, she'll be back.
No, she's so wonderful to chat with.
She's great, and she's such a wealth of information about all of these things that I certainly haven't heard of a lot of these. Oh, it sounds like she's back. Okay, let's see. Let me bring her live again because it goes immediately to me. Okay, you're back.
Yeah.
So this creates a space for these people, but they may be, when you remove the entity, but they may be uncomfortable with this space because they've gotten used to having this entity around. Now, have you ever seen anything that was really scary or like came up from the depths of hell or something that was shocking to you?
Yeah, and that's when I'm just like, that's just not. I just ask Archangel Michael, step in, because this is not what I do. I'll just be very honest. I don't do that.
Yeah, so he has to come in
that.
And wave the sword.
Yeah, I don't do things like that. When people ask me, do I do exorcism? I said no. I'm sorry, I don't do things like that.
Yeah.
I just don't. There's other people that do that, and I have seen it, and I just say, okay, Archangel Michael, thank you. You're taking over. I'm out of here.
very good. That's a smart move. Gosh, I know some of those things can be pretty horrible, and people may not even know they're carrying them around and they're being influenced. So it's good that you have such a great helper and Archangel Michael. That's wonderful. So when you now your family, how do they feel about the work that you're doing?
They're generally supportive. You know, it was a coming out of the closet kind of thing. You know, it was a slow transition, a slow progress, and I just, you know, now they know, and I think some of them feel a little awkward, especially like the younger millennials. You know, because after my mom, everybody was like expected to go to school. My mom was the first one to go. After my grandmother, then my mom was the first one to go to school, and then everybody went to school, and everybody was expected to go to be a professional, and you know, this is what you do. So they kind of look at me, and nobody says anything. At least not in front of me.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that they don't say anything in front of you. Well, I think it's a real testament to your family, to your lineage, you know, that you are carrying forth this tradition. I mean, this is something that started in great-great-grandmother, right?
Yes. And it's very much so.
It takes courage to bring this to the world. It really does. And it's so critical because it is the missing piece. You're not going to solve opioid addiction with other drugs, and you're not going to solve it with just plain old counseling. You have to address the spiritual issues as well. And this is where you bring in, Erika, the entire picture to your clients. And then I think you work with them very respectfully, and you get them involved in their own rituals. So it's not you doing something to them, but it's them releasing themselves from whatever chains that they carried into your office. So that's pretty remarkable work. And, I mean, we can't thank you enough for writing this book and for being able to offer your services to people. This is very powerful stuff. It's certainly nothing to fool around with, but it is powerful.
Thank you. Thank you as well. I'm so grateful to be doing this. I'm so honored and I'm so grateful to be doing this.
It's been such a joy listening to you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And you have the ancient history of all of this, too, which I think is so important because this didn't come out of the air. This has a long, long history behind it. Now, way back when, I'll ask you this one last question, these people were able to practice this without fear of retribution, right? So it's healers in the time of the origination of the Catholic Church really kind of had to watch it. And what about the healers in Mesoamerican tradition? Did they have to also be careful, or it was just such a part of the culture it was accepted?
Oh, no. No, this is something. No. They did horrible things. Horrible things. The Spaniards did indigenous people throughout hundreds of years. I mean, genocide. They're just terrible. Horrible things. I mean, Landa, who was one of the gentlemen who actually wrote one of the books that we have on the Yucatec Mind, which is a great book because has excellent ethnohistorical records on there and information on there, but he was actually in Spain for the atrocities that he committed. I mean, he just it killed so many people. Anyone that he thought that was practicing any of what they thought was worshiping the devil, executed. I mean, there was just
they were sad.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they escaped this persecution that seems to follow people of principle and who have this healing ability, but I guess nobody's escaped it. That's really too bad. But thank goodness you don't have to face that, Erika, in this day and age, and you can bring your gifts to all of us. So please, again, give everybody your website and the name of your book.
Yes. It's realizeyourbliss.com. The name of my book is Cleansing Rites of Curanderismo.
Say that so beautifully.
Yes, it sounds lovely when she says it.
Yeah, really. It sounds like poetry. Well, anyways, Erika, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show with us tonight. And for anybody who tuned in late, we will have an archive version of this. You can listen to it at your convenience. This has been a great show. Next week, we're back to UFOs, everybody. So until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural Girls.
Thanks again, Erika. That was great fun.
Thank you so much.
It was delightful.
It was a lot of fun.
That is for sure. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
And you too. And please keep in touch about your next book. We'll have you back.
Yes, please. Please. Please, please, please.
Look forward to it.
We would love it.
Okay, have a beautiful evening.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Take care.
Thanks. Good night.
Okay,
Bye.
good night.